This is the story of an island that nearly kept Odysseus forever. After storms, after shipwreck, after the wrath of Helios and Zeus, one man, clinging to broken planks, was carried to a quiet shore. He did not arrive as a hero with shining armor. He arrived thin, exhausted, half drowned by the sea. The island was green and gentle, full of soft light and birdsong. No smoke of war, no monsters' roars, only waves on the sand and the whisper of leaves in the wind. This was the island of Calypso. Calypso was the daughter of the Titan Atlas and Pleione, a sea nymph. Immortal and beautiful, she lived alone in a hidden cave veiled by vines and flowers, surrounded by trees, flowers, and clear flowing water, but with no one to share her endless years. One day, the waves laid a stranger at her feet. Odysseus lay on the sand, unmoving, skin pale with salt, eyes closed. His rugged, dark red tunic was torn and heavy with water. His cloak was in rags. His hands were scraped and bleeding. Calypso stepped closer, her bare feet in the foam. She saw not only a broken body, but a heart that refused to surrender. She brought him into her cave, where a warm fire burned. She washed the salt from his skin, treated his wounds with herbs, and laid him on a bed of soft leaves. For days he drifted in fevered dreams, whispering names: Penelope, Telemachus, Ithaca. Calypso listened. By the time he woke, she already knew his story. On Calypso's island, time did not move like time at sea. The sun rose gently. Days were soft. Nights were full of stars. Fruit hung heavy on the trees. Fresh water flowed from the rocks. Calypso's cave was always warm with fire. Odysseus grew stronger. The salt left his lungs. Color returned to his face. Calypso walked with him under the trees, showed him quiet pools and hidden meadows, sang old songs that softened the ache in his heart. She loved him. She told him he could stay with her, safe from storms, safe from war, safe from old age. She promised him a life without death, without pain, without loss. But there was one thing she could not give him: home. As his body healed, Odysseus spent more time on the shore. He sat on the rocks, looking west, toward a sea with no clear path, yet in his mind it led only to Ithaca. Sometimes he wept. Sometimes he was silent. Calypso watched from a distance, her immortal heart stung by a mortal man's devotion. For 7 long years, Odysseus remained on Calypso's island, and still, his heart did not forget home. Far away on Olympus, Athena watched as well. She saw Odysseus, trapped in a paradise that was not his own. She went before Zeus. "Father of gods and men," she said, "you promised that Odysseus would return home. He has suffered storms, monsters, and the anger of Poseidon. Will he now die in comfort, forgotten on an island where no one speaks his name?" Zeus listened. He sent Hermes, the swift messenger, to carry his command. Hermes crossed the green island and found Calypso in her cave, weaving and singing. He told her plainly, "Odysseus must be allowed to go. His fate does not end here. The gods command that he sail again toward his home." Calypso's heart burned with anger and sorrow. "You gods," she said, "are quick to blame a goddess who loves a mortal man. When I offer shelter to a man broken by the sea, you tear him from my hands." But she knew she could not fight the will of Zeus. That evening, she walked to the shore where Odysseus sat, as he always did, gazing at the horizon. "I have news," she said. "The gods remember you. They have ordered that you be set free." Hope flickered in Odysseus's eyes, but Calypso's voice was not finished. "I could keep you here," she said softly. "I could make you my husband. I can offer you what no mortal can have, a life without death, without the weight of years. Stay with me, Odysseus. Forget your sorrow, forget your wandering. Be immortal and be mine." The waves rolled in, hissing over the sand. Odysseus looked at his hands, scarred, weathered, very human. Then he looked west, where he could almost see a distant rocky shore that lived only in memory. "Calypso," he said gently, "you are kind, and your island is more beautiful than any I have seen. But my heart belongs to a woman who weaves and waits. My life belongs to a boy who may not remember his father's face. I cannot trade them for songs and immortality. If I am to die, let it be as a mortal, with the hope of seeing my home again." Calypso closed her eyes. For a long moment she said nothing. Then she nodded. "If you must go," she answered, "I will not hold you. The gods may command your leaving, but let it be my hands that send you safely to sea." She showed him where the good trees grew, straight and tall. She gave him tools to cut and shape the wood. Side by side, they built a new vessel, a sturdy raft strong enough for open water. Calypso brought him cloth for a sail, ropes for binding, and skins of fresh water. She filled baskets with food and fruit and set them upon the deck. When all was ready, the raft rested in the shallows, rocking softly. The morning of his leaving, the sky was clear, the wind gentle. Calypso walked with Odysseus to the water's edge. He stood in his rugged, dark red tunic, his cloak cleaned and mended, but the years still showed in his eyes. "I do not curse you," Calypso said quietly. "I wish you fair winds and a kinder path than the one that brought you here." "Whatever songs are sung of me," Odysseus replied, "there will be a place in them for the nymph who saved my life." He stepped onto the raft. A soft breeze rose from the shore, filling the sail, carrying him out over the glittering water. Calypso watched until he was only a speck against the blue, then turned back to her cave, to her island, to her endless years. He watched until the green of her home was no more than a line on the horizon. Ahead of him waited new storms, new trials, new shores. But his course was set. For Penelope, for Telemachus, for Ithaca, Odysseus sailed on.